Hey everybody, welcome to TYT Nation Interviews. I have a special guest for you guys today. We're going to be talking to Russ Cirincione, who is running for New Jersey's 6th District against Frank Pallone. Hey, Russ, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Jeff, thank you for having me. I'm a longtime watcher, so it's really a surreal experience to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. It's great to have somebody who's super progressive and who's running a great primary challenge against one of the most corporate Democrats in very powerful position, by the way. So welcome, man. So let's get to some of the questions. So for one, why did you feel that you needed to take on Frank Pallone?
For a lot of reasons, because we are facing a climate crisis. In New Jersey, our state is warming the hottest in the nation. 2 degrees we've already hit here. An average temperature increase is like the 1890s since we've been recording it. And our homes here are at risk of biweekly flooding. My home's projected to flood every other week. Also, my son, he's 2.5 years old, and his future is exactly determined by how we can deal with cleaning up our environment and the climate crisis today. So my representative has actively been blocking the Green New Deal. He shut down AOC's climate subcommittee. And these are the things that I thought a Democrat would understand, that they should be fighting for a Green New Deal. They should be fighting the fossil fuel industry. But, instead he goes the other way. He takes fossil fuel money, took $500,000 from some of the biggest polluters in the country. And it's just more and more, as I looked into his background and what he's done, he also has been blocking Medicare for All. And he chairs the Energy and Commerce Committee. So he literally has a lot of control over whether these bills become law. He has refused to hold any hearings on either of these very, very important issues that are important to the people in our district here. 80% of people support the Green New Deal here, of Democratic voters. So it's very popular. And, Medicare for All is very popular here too, because we pay the 5th highest prices for our health insurance in the country. So he's not listening to his constituents. And, I have different policies where I only care about people and I reject corporate cash because I just want to be bound by ethical rules and duty of loyalty to the people in our district and in our country. So that's why our progressive grassroots campaign has been attracting a lot of attention.
And it's great attention. But look, Russ, I mean, look, Pallone, he's trying to work with Donald Trump in order to strike a deal for infrastructure. That's going to have a little bit of change, a little bit of effort on climate change. And he's going to work with Trump to take on prescription drugs. Why would you be against that?
So if that's actually going to happen, right? I would work with a Republican if it gets us to a Green New Deal. I worked with a pharmaceutical on a pharmaceutical pricing plan, but we actually need the right things done. We need a Medicare for All system. He proposes half measure, which would still allow pharmaceutical companies to charge Americans an extra 20% over what the rest of the world is being charged. And he also proposed a half measure of, calling for fracked gas to be used until 2050. And these are not the things that we should be using our political capital on. We should be fighting for real progressive change that we want to see. And going to the negotiation table already compromising is a silly position, because that's not how you win negotiation tactics. Donald Trump may say that he wants to lower drug prescription prices, but we know he doesn't really want to. Why would we even bother trying to come to the table with someone that doesn't truly want to negotiate? So we have to demand the things that we deserve, like lower prescription drug costs with Medicare for All, generic manufacturing, and we have to really fight for single-payer universal coverage.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what would you do differently than Pallone when it came to those issues? When it came to drug prices, for example, what would be your fix?
So we have to take the lowest price in the world, where whatever pharmaceutical medicines cost, the lowest cost, that's what it should cost here. And for 90% of all drugs that are prescribed are pretty much generics. Mm-hmm. But the problem is generic manufacturing is controlled by these price gouging medicine, pharmaceutical company, middle people that literally control how all of the generics are produced and control the prices. Even in New Jersey, the Attorney General is suing 11 different pharmaceutical companies for price gouging and colluding on fixing the prices of drugs together on generics. Like, we can't trust these companies to manufacture the drugs that we need, because, like drugs like insulin should be provided at cost. And the federal government should be able to manufacture these generic drugs for at cost and provide them to people who need it. And that's one way we could do it. We have to demand like the real change that we need. And there's many ways to do it. We have to follow what the rest of the industrialized nations in the world have been doing for their people. And one of the bills he proposed would only allow Medicare to negotiate 35 drugs. The price of 35 drugs. There's over 4,000 drugs on the market today. Like that doesn't even scratch the surface of protecting consumers from this price gouging. So we have to demand real bold change with Medicare for All.
So Cory Booker is also from New Jersey, sorry, also from your state. And so famously, he went against being able to import cheaper drugs from Canada. So one of the reasons, I believe, is because you have a lot of lobbying, a lot of pharmaceutical companies that put a lot of money into New Jersey politics. And so you're not going to take any corporate PAC money. You're not going to take any super PAC money, any corporate money, donations, bundling, anything like that. You're not going to take that money. And so that means that you're not going to be compromised by that, like these other politicians, like this Pallone. Pallone takes a lot of money from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
yeah,
go ahead. Yeah.
He took $1 million from the insurance companies and pharma lobbies last election cycle alone. Wow. 40% of all of his donations came from those lobbies. And we're saying no to all that cash because they have no interest with me, because I don't want to even be talking to those lobbies, because their interests are only maximizing profits and making money off of sick people. And that's not an interest that I want. I want to fight for the people.
Yeah, and it shows you're one of the people who actually signed the TYT Economic Progressive Pledge, right? So yes. You signed that pledge. You're all in favor. Green New Deal, Medicare for all, higher wages. What about labor? So I want you to explain to the audience what you would do for labor unions. I'm a union guy. Okay, so best jobs I'd ever had, I was in a union. We had great pay. We had good benefits. What would you do for the unions, and also how would you combat? Because there's this narrative around Medicare for all that's being pushed by corporate media, that's being pushed by even union leaders. They're unhappy with the idea of losing that negotiated health care. How would you go and explain to them that Medicare for all would actually be better than their negotiated benefits?
So I'm a union guy too. I'm a member of DC 37, AFL-CIO, AFSCME. Union strong, yeah. And so unions are really what created the American middle class and prosperity and a high standard of living for us, but a very long time ago. And I mean, even today, union sector employees, union employees make 25% on average higher than non-union sector employees. So if they're concerned about losing their negotiated benefits, well, that is a propaganda line that's been put out by the insurance companies and the pharma lobbies, because Bernie Sanders' bill specifically includes allowing immediate renegotiation of their union contracts with their employers through the National Labor Relations Board for those same benefits to be reflected in their paycheck. So either they're going to get a raise or another benefit. Right now, I pay about $150 a month for my union health insurance, and it's good. It's good, but I want everybody to have something like I have. And also, it's not even the best, because they could still charge higher prices. They could still kick me off if I get very sick. They could still deny my coverage, and I still have deductibles and copays. So under a Medicare for All system, there's no deductibles, there's no copays. The maximum cost of medicine is $200 a year. They're getting an automatic better benefit without even having to go to the negotiation table. And their employers are going to be saving a lot of money, a lot of money. So their employers will be happy to share that economic benefit, their savings of their Medicare for All, with their union employees. So I think unions and people who have employer-based plans have nothing to fear with Medicare for All, because it's going to be a better benefit for cheaper to their employer. They're going to get better benefits from their employers. And to be quite honest, employers are going to save so much money under Medicare for All that they might just cover the entire employee share, and you pay nothing out of your paycheck, because they're going to be saving so much money. So I mean, I have a lot of data on this for New Jersey specifically, where we could go through, but unions, I want to expand significantly. Data for Progress, the polling website, and they do a lot of great work across our nation. They just ranked my union platform the top 3 in the nation, compare. And the incumbent, far more pro-union, and across the entire nation, I'm in the top 3 pro-union campaigns, because I'm a union guy through and through. I think everyone should be represented by a union, and of course the option is there, but we have to do things like repeal Taft-Hartley, repeal these fake right-to-work laws. There's different things that we can do.
Yeah, I was you know that there was a big strike here in Michigan, the GM workers, right, across the Midwest. So GM workers, and this is another great argument. GM workers, while they were striking for a better union contract, they had their health insurance eliminated. Under Medicare for All, that wouldn't happen.
Right.
And so I think that's another, important thing to point out for fellow union members. But there's one thing that doesn't get talked about, and again, this makes me sad as somebody who's a big union supporter, union guy, right? But there are some unions that sell health insurance, and so they sell the health insurance, and so it makes them more partial to the system. And so, and that's not rank and file. That's leadership, and so there is that to contend with. But basically, let me ask: from what you're saying, is that day one, say Russ gets elected, and he takes Frank Pallone's seat, which great day indeed, right? Day one, you say, I'm going to sign on to the House version of Medicare for All. That's Jayapal's bill.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Day one, yes.
Day one.
Mm-hmm.
And
day one, and I want to see Bernie Sanders' version passed as well. So I definitely support that. I mean, I'd co-sponsor it if I can.
Right. And of course, I'm assuming the same for the Green New Deal in the House as well. If there's a House version.
Oh, absolutely. The Green New Deal, yes. For day one, the House resolution, which Pallone did not sign, and we'll actually start getting the work done that we have to do. We have to figure out exactly what the legislation will be for the Green New Deal.
Right.
But day one, those are my 2 big priorities. And the third big priority is sign on to an AntiCorruption Act to end the corruption in politics, because it's just so crazy, our campaign finance system.
So can you go into a little bit more detail about an Anti-Corruption Act that you would support?
So the Represent Us puts out a great American Anti-Corruption Act. I want to go further than that bill. I want to ban lobbyists completely. I want to ban private donations from politics, and I want to switch to a public financing system. And there's 2 different versions that I like: Democracy Dollars, which works in Seattle, and also a federal tax credit for any for political donations up to $100, to put everybody on a level playing field, because the fact is campaigns still require money to run, but if everybody's on the same playing field, there's no more special interests.
Yeah, getting money into politics, that's also one of my big issues, because it's the issue that precedes all the other issues, and so I'm assuming you also support, for example, the TYT's 25th Amendment, right? The efforts of Wolfpack, for example.
Yes, the Wolfpack Amendment.
To get the money out of politics. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have to get all the money out of politics. It's the reform of all reforms. If we want anything done in this country, we have to get rid of the special interests. If we want environmental policies that will clean up our environment, we have to cut off the fossil fuel money. There's so many things that are stalled in Congress because there's a big money interest that just has been either fighting it or we see the 1% getting massive tax handouts because they've been lobbying government for generations.
So I want to switch questions here, or switch gears about the politics of the issue, right? About the specific race, and so you're in a, if I'm to understand correctly, you're in a bit of a crowded primary field, right? So you've got several other people that are also vying for Pallone's seat. So that would suggest that he's kind of vulnerable, right?
Is he vulnerable?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're going to win this election.
Okay.
We probably need about 30,000 votes to win, and I think we're going to win, to be honest. So I know there were 4 primary challengers.
Mm-hmm.
2 have already dropped out, and right now I'm leading the primary field as should the challenger to the incumbent in terms of dollars raised and volunteers and amount of contributors. So yeah, I'm really excited about our election in general, because it's exciting to me to see a lot of patriots standing up and calling out corporate Democrats, pushing them to the left, challenging their seats, and we're going at it from every single front. So it's a really exciting election to watch.
Absolutely. So have you been getting a lot of pushback or from the establishment? I know that Pallone and Pelosi, they had some issues in the past, but
mm-hmm.
he seems to be, I'm going to quote a Politico article here because, Politico, right? Pelosi is essentially the speaker's enforcer against the left on the Energy Committee and Energy and Commerce Committee. So have you been getting, look, I don't know how much you're being outspent. I'm assuming it's quite a bit.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But have you been seeing a lot of attacks from Pelosi or other members of the establishment?
So far, they denied me access to the van,
of course,
which is normally provided to every single Democratic candidate in the state for free. But otherwise, I think people have been kind of nice, kind of respectful, and so far. But it's now we're in the 2020 race. Now is when everybody's thinking about the congressional primaries. So we'll see. I have a feeling that that's going to change really quickly. And I've actually had some people approach me telling me, slow down, run for council, run for something small,
of course.
Pay your dues, Russ. What are you doing here? And that just falls on deaf ears because I'm not hearing any of that. The only thing that will save my son's future
mm-hmm.
is a Green New Deal. And the only way we get that is by challenging the corporate Democrat that takes fossil fuel money.
Absolutely. All right. So thank you so much, Russ. I want to direct our viewers to the website. That is Cirincione2020.com. Is that correct?
Cirincione 2020. Go to Russ for Us 2020.
Oh, I love it. Russ for Us. That's even better.
Yeah, because nobody could spell my last name. A lot of people can't even pronounce it. So, but if Russ for FOR Us 2020.com.
I was gonna suggest that because, you know what? That's awesome. Russ for Us. So you said Russ for Us 2020.com, right?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Yeah,
absolutely. So guys, support this progressive candidate. He's awesome, amazing, and Russ, thank you so much for joining us. I wish you the best of luck in your campaign. I'm going to be watching it, and I can't wait to see you defeat Frank Pallone. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Jeff. Thanks for having me, and thank you to everybody.